Welcome back to episode 4 of our Coffee Talk series, Morning Casual Chats over a great brew. I'm your host, Andy. Thanks for tuning in today. Let me get my coffee going here. How is everyone? Surprise, surprise. Today's morning coffee will be an iced Americano black. You find me this morning still in Dallas, Texas. A fun personal note, I found out that our Cybertruck, we're going to try to take delivery of it this week. So that will be fun to at least go and see the truck. I did that backwards. See, that I got so excited about talking about the Cybertruck, I actually did my coffee out of order. I do use the out-in espresso machine when I'm traveling. It's quite nice. In case anyone's curious on what I'm doing. What kind of coffee machines do you guys use at home? And, better question, what kind of coffee chats or topics of discussion do you guys have around your coffee? And tighten that down. Perfect. Perfect. And now, there we go. Heat the water. And then what I typically like to do is put the remainder of my water in my water bottle. Perfect. All right. How are you guys this morning? What is the state of things? I've had a couple of thoughts on what I think we should talk about for this coffee chat. I was going to talk about doing personal development focus, but I think we're going to table that and talk about that another time. Instead, what's on my mind this morning is travel and the importance of it. For me, I love traveling. I love getting to go places and see different sights and just kind of the creative just flywheel that happens from that. There was a time where I did stay home for I worked in a different job and I was able to work from home. I found that the creativity that came from getting to see different things and go to different malls and see different stores and see different hotel rooms and how different architectures of stuff is built. For me, that's where I get my most amount of creativity from. And to be fair, it's where I meet some really cool people. Some of my good friends are actually abroad right now. One of them is in Australia. I met him when I spent a week there in Sydney. It was a lot of fun, and that's why I said, like, for me, I don't think that I will ever stop traveling. I think that I will always do traveling in a certain manner. I think it's what makes my mind creatively move. Comment down below. I am curious, what do you do to keep your creativity going? And how do you get out of a creative rut? I think these are very pivotal things that one needs to focus on through their day-to-day lives. Yeah. Those are my thoughts on travel. I've gotten to see some cool places. I should add it up someday on all the states that I've been to and countries I've been to and see which ones I haven't yet been to. Have not been to Europe yet. I would like to eventually go there. I know my spouse, Dog on Sci-Fi, is extremely passionate about going there. I not so much, in a sense of when I see that's just overall footprint size and living in the States, I mean, footprint-wise, the US is huge in comparison, so I'm sure that everything there kind of feels a little bit smaller, maybe more quaint. Perhaps the comparison would be like the Disneyland to Disney World situation. I don't know. Sydney was a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. The interesting thing about Sydney is I went during summertime, and summertime here in the US is quite hot because of obviously our summer, but down there it's the opposite because of it being the southern hemisphere. And when I went down there over the summer, it was obviously their winter time, and they have festivals and light displays, and people are wearing jackets and coats. It's kind of interesting. But definitely a lot of fun. All right, let's see how I did on the coffee this morning. I went back to the number 9, which is the red capsule. I'm trying to work through those, because I ordered some more of the 8s. It's not bad. It's not as good as the 8s, though. The 8s are quite tasty from Pete's. I don't know what they are, but... It is raining a little bit here today, too, if you can see through the window, if the window's a little bit fuzzier than it has been in the past couple of days. But it has been kind of fun to watch the weather patterns come through the room. Yeah, I think all of this stems back to personal reflection and being able to look at what you're doing and how it's affecting others. As long as you can do that in your life, I think you will be incredibly successful. And I think that people will generally respect you. If you focus on what's best for yourself and how you're going to get there, I think that's a methodology for short-term gains, but not long-term success. And I think we talked about this before, but I ultimately think you want to find what it is for you that gives you that freedom and gives you that space to make it feel like it's okay to actually reflect on how you are impacting the things around you. Wow, that was deep for coffee talk. That was very deep for coffee talk this morning. I feel sometimes like Mr. Rogers in the mornings, where perhaps I should, maybe I will, maybe eventually I'll wear a sweater when we start moving into the seasonalities of fall, and as we think about the holiday season coming up. I don't know about you, but what's your favorite season? Mine? Christmas. None other. It's definitely that time of year. It's very magical. It's very special. It seems like people put down their plowshares and actually start to be nice and civil towards each other. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's the finances being spent on gifts that we shouldn't be spending money on. But regardless, I still think that it's one of those things that it's a really fun time of year. Not sure what I'm getting this year for Christmas, but maybe some socks. I know, I've said this before, that socks are kind of not a fun Christmas gift, but this year I'm looking at some nice toe socks, so. Well, let's see, should I talk about the talking points, get back to them? Ironically enough, my talking points were similar to the detour that I took of talking about travel and personal reflection. But let me hit them for you, and it'll be a little bit more concise. I think there's 5 key things that we could use for personal development focus. It's routines, habits, journaling, the downside, which is procrastinating, and equilibrium. Let's go back to that first one, routines. I think with routines, the importance of building a daily routine is just, it's kind of like what we talked about. It's underestimated on the importance of that. Whether it be exercise, a morning cup of coffee, do something that's healthy. And at some point, you're going to do multiple things that are healthy for you on that day, on a day-to-day basis. The key is building the routine and sticking with it. I believe it only takes, Doug on Sci-Fi will comment down in the comments, I'm sure about this. I believe it only takes 2 weeks to build a habit. And so if you're doing something consistently for 2 weeks, you're going to see that, oh, this gets easier. Day 15, day 16. And then there's a pendulum cycle of this whole thing, which we'll get to. But I think that's the key. Building routines and habits that lead to change. Well, what did I just say? After 2 weeks, you're going to start to get to a point where it just becomes a routine, and it's going to lead to a big change. For those that exercise all the time, you notice that they stay athletic. It's not like they're putting on a lot of weight. They're maintaining. It's because they're in that habit. It's a routine for them. They're staying active. They're incredibly healthy, and it's a good thing, I believe. Journaling, the value of self-reflection. I think journaling can be done in many ways. It doesn't have to be a written journal where you're handwriting out your thoughts on a daily basis. I, for one, have not ever been into that. For me, my self-reflection or my journaling time comes from quiet moments, comes from sitting out and looking at a view, essentially just kind of absorbing what is around me and seeing how things are working, how things are built, how people are interacting with one another. And to me, that's where I like to get my self-reflection from. Yours might be different. It might truly be journaling, which is a very healthy thing to do as well. But I think the key here is the self-reflection part. And then we come to the last two, procrastination and equilibrium. Let's talk about that first one, procrastination. I cannot tell you the number of times in my personal life that I have thought about starting something and then said, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow. And then it just becomes one of these things that I procrastinate for so long that either some things never get started, or other things I do accomplish and then think that it was so easy, why didn't I just do this sooner? Procrastination, I think in some ways, stems from the fact that as humans, we know, and this is going to be a very deep statement, we know that we will never finish it. In other words, we know that we are always going to leave something undone. And in some ways, I think procrastination is our reminder to us that we shouldn't take everything so seriously. And it should allow us to kind of, or even just, I would say, prompt us to go back and think, hey, you know what? I have time right now. Let me look at the view for 10 minutes. And it's not that you need to set a timer or anything along those lines, or maybe you do, but it gives you that reminder of, hey, should I be thinking about something else right now? Should I be focused on the bigger picture? And I think we talk about that sometimes. And I'm one that honestly believes that yes, 100% yes, you should be focused on the bigger picture. Equilibrium. Well, much like with all things in life, there is a yin and yang. There is a balance or an equilibrium that needs to take place. I think there's an extreme to everything. And when it comes to personal development focus, even myself, I'm guilty of it. I think you can swing to one extreme or the other very quickly. And that's why I ultimately think that you need to have a group of individuals that you trust that are giving you that feedback loop, and you're listening to them. You're not turning them off. They're not feeding you what you want to hear. They're feeding you the truth. And I think as long as the equilibrium, when you self-reflect, you look at procrastinating, you look at your habits and your routines, and you have that the equilibrium of you're trying to keep it somewhere in the middle, that is a really perfect place for one's personal development focus and how to progress forward. I hope this helps. This, for episode 4 of our casual coffee chat sessions, has been quite deep, but I'm sure I've probably stirred up thoughts and comments, and leave them in the comment section down below. And if you want to talk about something more lighthearted, comment about what we should talk about. I don't know. I'm cool to talk about anything. We could talk about current events. We could talk about politics, which, yeah, we could talk about politics. We could talk about, the reason I stumbled on politics is because everyone's divisive and has a very strong opinion one way or the other on politics. So in some ways, politics is quite evil. But if we want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I don't know. I'm willing to talk about a lot of things. I hope you are too. Well, I know it's going to be a good day. I hope it's a good day for you as well. A sip of coffee to bid you all adieu. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.